meet your needs. If not, we can always do a student group that you can run the attendance profiles for en masse, and I can help you walk through that. Wouldn't be any problem at all. You're welcome. You might have to scroll through some slides because I don't know where I got it to before it got you up there.
Good afternoon. My name is Jermaine King, and I'm with the IS, or Information Systems section of the Department of Education. Better. All right. This is the second year that I've done this workshop or this meeting conference, and the second time they've had me behind Stacy, and this is the second year in a row that my stuff's gonna be real regular compared to hers. So I apologize up front. But again, my name is Jermaine King. I'm with the Information Systems section at the Department of Education. And I'm here to talk to you about Education Directory, AIM, and the homeless portal. And what I want to talk about are some of the things that I want to touch on are how to get to the application, how to get access to the application. I'll talk a little bit about how the app works, and then I'll give you some things to check for when you are validating your data. So first slide here is, where is the application located? Like all of our AIM-enabled applications, they're in the services portal, which is accessed through AIM. So what you would do is you would go to aim.alsde.edu, and once you enter that URL, you'll go to a screen that looks similar to the item that we have, or the screenshot that I have up there at the top. It's the login screen. So do we have any new people who are doing homeless for the first time? Everybody's familiar? Okay. One new person? That's okay, that's perfect, that's perfect. So for just about everyone else in here, you'll enter your username and password, you'll log in, hit the AIM tile, and you're gone. But for a new person, what you'll want to do is, if you haven't already done so, you'll want to create an AIM account. And so once you go to the AIM URL, aim.alsde.edu, what you would do is you would click that Need an Account link. From there, you go in and enter in an email address, and then AIM will send you some directions on how to finish creating your account. So you'll answer some basic demographic information, you'll set up your security questions and your password, and then step one has been taken care of. Step two is you need to have positions and application access roles assigned. So that's done by your superintendent or their EdDir administrator. So what you'll do is, or what they'll do is, they'll go in and they'll assign you a position. So this is what you do at that LEA. Whether you're the homeless liaison, you're the federal programs coordinator, you're a principal, well, not at the LEA level, but you're central office staff, whatever your position is, they'll go in and they'll assign that to your EdDir record. The other thing that they'll do is they'll assign you an application access role. So these are important because these roles tell you, or tell AIM, what it is that you can do in each individual tile. So talking about the homeless application, what you can do is every one of the AIM tiles has a little question mark in the bottom left-hand corner. So what you'll do is you'll click on that, and it'll bring up some information about that particular application, give you contact information. We usually do it at the director level, so that's why you see Dr. Killingsworth's name there. It'll give you a little bit of a blurb on what the actual application does, and then what you'll want to look at specifically is these items that have app in the type column. So for homeless, there's two application access roles. There's homeless application user that can certify all system data, and there's homeless application user that can view all system data. So it's pretty much what it sounds like. The people who can view can see information about the LEA or the schools in that LEA, but they can't certify. And then the folks that have the certify privileges, they can see it and they can certify. One of the things that we run into every now and again is someone will get set up, They'll have an application access role or have application access roles set up. They'll have a position assigned, but they won't be able to do what it is that they think they should be able to do in the application. So one of the things we'll check if it comes to us, one of the things that we'll check is to make sure that your EdDir administrator assigns you to what we call a quad 0 record. So it's those 4 zeros that you see in the school code, the one that's highlighted in green. That's your system level record. That's your district level record. A lot of times what they'll do is they'll add you to the Board of Education record, which is the 0001 record. That's actually for your board, for your district's board. So they would go in and they would assign that particular role to those individuals. So the takeaway from this one is you want to make sure that they've got you assigned to the quad 0 record. If you're logging into the AIM application, you can't do what you think you should be able to do. So once you've logged in, you've got everything set up, and you've clicked on the AIM tile, you'll get a screen like the one here. And the screen is basically divided into 5 sections. The first one we have is the system selection. So this allows you to view data by year, so you can pick whichever year you'd like to look at. It'll have your school system. I'm assuming most of you guys are working at a single school district, so you'll only see that one school district listed there. But if you are someone who works across multiple districts, you'd see however many districts you're assigned to an education directory shown here. And then once you pick your school system, it'll filter that school list for the schools that are in that particular district. So if you pick the quad 0 record, you'll be able to see the summary data, the roll-up data for that LEA or your LEA. And if you pick the individual school data, then those different tables will change to show just the data for the school that you selected. The next section we have just below that is where we list the race, ethnicity, gender information, and student status, which is basically a grouping of subpopulations that we often have to report on to the feds. So this is like kind of an at-a-glance view that lets you look at it and, you know, see the different subpopulations broken out there. After that, over to the right, we have the summary data. So this is the data that comes from PowerSchool. That we display here for you to see. It's broken down by grade. So you'll see information on McKinney-Vento, on the nighttime status, unaccompanied youth. You'll also see a breakdown on gender and a couple of the other subpopulations. And then under that, this is your certification area. So for those who have certifier privileges, you would go in here, make sure you're on the quad 0 record, and you'll see this box here. You would check the checkbox and click the Certify Homeless button to submit your information to the state. And we'll talk about that a little bit later in one of the other slides. So as you certify, in this particular instance, the certification status is set to no. But once you certify, the checkbox and the button will go away. That certification status will change to yes, and then the date that you certified and your email address will show up in that certification date and certification by fields. Then as the state accepts your certification, because there's another step to it, you submit it, they review it, and then they accept it. So once they accept it, you'll see that information posted on that last row there. The decision status, whether it was accepted or not, the date that they made their decision, and the person who made that decision. And then under that, you have your student level information. So this is the individual student info that makes up those counts that we saw in the previous slide. Any questions so far? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right. Any other questions? All right. Some key facts about homeless. The data is updated nightly until it's certified. So what you can do is you can go to the homeless app right now and you can look at your data and you can see what it's going to be or what it's looking like. See if there's any changes that need to be made, any updates that need to be made. The changes that you make in PowerSchool usually take 24 to 48 hours before they appear in the homeless application. So we give you a wide swath. Usually it's overnight. I think the cutoff is at 5 p.m. So any change made before 5 p.m. will normally show up in the applications, homeless application the next day, at least by 8 o'clock. Every now and again, we have some issues where we may get some bad data and it may blow the process up. So we may have to restart it, or we could have a situation where there were too many things going on, and we just waited until the next day to reprocess data. So that's why we give you a 24 to 48 hour kind of span to look for those updates to be made. But usually they're done overnight and they're in place around 8 o'clock the next morning. One thing that I would ask you guys to do is to make sure the changes are visible before you certify. Sometimes folks will make a change and they'll go in and they'll certify immediately. They didn't wait the 24 to 48 hours, or you were working with someone and they made a change for you and you haven't validated that change is there, and you certify, and that'll cause the program staff to have to go in and uncertify your information to check it or to pick up that update. So we just ask that you make sure that you see the changes in the Homeless app before you certify. If updates to student information are made after certifying, contact the program staff to uncertify your submission. So basically, once you certify again, it locks. Your certification or your homeless data will stop receiving updates from PowerSchool. So if you realize that a student was missed or a student needs to be changed, what you can do is contact the program staff. They can uncertify it, make any updates or changes you need to, and then those will process through. Why do we collect this information? We have to do what they call Consolidated State Performance Reports, or CSPR. So we report all of the data that you have to the feds. So this is why we go through these things and we have you certify, and why this data is so important, among other things. But one of them is we have to report the data to the feds. One of the things that we also ask or try to remind everyone is to coordinate with staff members for data that crosses programs. So for example, Homeless also reports on the EL subpopulation. So you're on it, you did your work, you got your homeless data certified. Of your 30 homeless kids, you had 3 that were EL. Well, the EL person who may be a little bit behind you, they go in and they're working their data. They realize that they missed some kids, missed marking some kids EL. So they go in and they mark those 4 kids EL. There's 4 kids they missed. They mark those kids as EL, but one of those kids was also homeless. So on their report, they're saying they have 4 homeless EL kids, or 4 EL kids who are homeless. On your report, you're saying you have 3 EL kids who are homeless. So the feds have gotten a little fancier than they have in the past. Over the last couple of years, they've been able to run comparison between the different CSPR files. So now they produce error messages. So they read your file, they'll read the EL file and any other files that have data that crosses programs, and then they'll report back to the state and they'll say, hey, what's going on here with this district? So in situations like that, what we'll do is we'll end up reaching out to the program staff, they'll reach out to you, and then at that particular point, we're trying to uncertify and recertify data to make sure we get everything back in sync. So if you, so one of the things you can do, we ask, if you can, to work with the other staff members in your LEA, make sure that you have all of your data as solid as you can possibly have it before you submit. And again, start looking at your homeless data now. It's available to you. Again, even though it's not open for certification, you can actually go in and look at your data right now and see what's going on with it. Any questions? Okay. Next step is actually certifying the application. So once you've gone in and you've got everything straight, you're ready to certify. As I said a couple of slides back, you want to make sure that you're on the Quad 0 record. If you were looking at the elementary school or the high school, you're not going to see the certification checkbox and button like you do see here. So what you want to do is make sure every now and again we'll get a ticket or a call in that says, hey, I can't see the certification button. One of the things that we'll ask, in addition to checking your where you're assigned in their DER, is we'll make sure that you're on the school level or the Quad levels record. Some of the things that you want to check on when you're verifying your data is you want to make sure that all of your, in your race ethnicity section, that all of your kids have a race. You want to make sure that you have nobody, or no one with a other races or not specified category. So you want to make sure that everyone has a race. You also want to check gender. Make sure that you don't have anyone in the other gender category. Some other things that you can do is the blue section here where we have sheltered, unsheltered, double up, hotel, motels. You want to make sure that that count adds up to your enrolled count. So just another quick check to make sure that your data is lined up as best it can be. And the same thing with male and female. You want to make sure if you're going across the summary data section there. When you're ready to certify, you just click the checkbox next to the certification statement, select or click the Certify Homeless button, and then, like we said before, it'll fill out that information in the table below. So there's a couple of other applications that show you your homeless data that you can use to check your homeless data. We've got student data and official state collections. So if you don't have access to these, I would recommend that you reach out to your ALSDE administrator to see if you can get that and ask for that. On the student data side of things, under the federal programs menu item, there's a lot of different things here. There's EL, homeless, SWTA, migrant, immigrant. You can see all of that information here. But of course, we're focused in on homeless. This application existed before the homeless portal. So one of the things that we did was, once the homeless portal was created, we actually certifying your data. We left this view because we found out that a lot of LEAs use this to give to other staff members in their LEA. So you or your ALSDE person may not want to give someone else access to the homeless tile, even if it's view only. They may decide they don't want to do that. They want to leave it to just you. So what they can do is they can give the homeless view here in student data to someone else. They can see your data, and then they can be able to provide input on any changes that need to be made. They can double check it. You could also extend this down to principals or school level personnel so that they can look at the information in their school and be able to validate that data for you also. So digging into that view a little bit more, this is what it looks like. You have the same breakdown that you have on the homeless tile, or portal. You've got your summary information at the top, and to the left, you've got your student level information at the bottom, and then you can change your school years and your district and school just like you can on the other application. The other item that we have is official state collections. What I would draw your attention to on this one is the collection errors screen, which is under attendance. And so what this will do is it'll pull up all of the errors in your LEA for fall or for 9th month. Since we've already done fall, there's nothing you can do about that, but 9th month is upcoming. So if you select 9th month, you select your system, the district level record, and 9th month, what you'll do is you'll get a list of all of the errors that are showing up for your LEA. Now, they'll extend beyond homeless, but this is a good place for you to look at things like the students who don't have a gender assigned. You can filter the grid on the other page, or you can come here and filter the error message for gender, and it'll tell you everyone that is missing a gender. Now, we're doing pretty good with that one this year. We only have one student statewide who doesn't have a gender. However, once we get into race codes, there are 137 students statewide that don't have a race code. So it could be someone in your district. So whether it's you who looks at this or whoever's responsible for getting your data collections, data submitted, whether it be fall or 9th month, they can look there and they can get a list of the kids who are missing either a race or a gender or have any other errors that are related to homeless. Going too far. For assistance, LaDonna may not like this, but I would say contact her first for assistance. It's not that I don't want to talk to you or we don't want to talk to you, but a lot of times LaDonna can address whatever issues you may have first. If it's bigger than what LaDonna can handle, or if she needs assistance on it, she'll contact us, or you can submit a ticket through the service desk. And I don't have that on the slide, but it's service desk, SERVICE, desk, DESK, all together, no spaces, at alsde.edu. And you submit a service desk ticket and tell us what your error is, sometimes, or what problem you're having. We'll get anything from something that's really descriptive to something that just says my data's messed up. They don't tell us who they are. They don't tell us what's messed up. They don't tell us what application. So if you submit a service desk ticket, we don't need a lot, but tell us what's going on. Hey, I've got 3 kids that should be showing up as homeless who aren't. Here's their SSIDs. That's perfect. And names. If you can give us, SSIDs and names, that'd be perfect. Because now we can start Once that ticket hits, we can start reviewing and figuring out what's going on. Otherwise, we may end up playing phone tag with you, trying to either email or phone tag, trying to get that extra information from you. So if you put in a ticket, remember, we don't need a book, but tell us what you can, what's going on, what errors you're seeing, and then give us some examples with names and SSIDs. I think I covered everything. So this concludes my presentation. Appreciate y'all's time. Do y'all have any other questions? Yes, ma'am.